Shannon, and today I've got a book tag to share with you guys. I was wanting to film something tonight. I wasn't sure what that should be, and then I realized I haven't filmed a tag video in a while. And I love book tag videos because they let me kind of go through my collection, find books that fit the questions, and then talk to you about them. And I love that. So I, of course, will link down the original video for this tag. I just searched book tag on YouTube, and this one came up. I saw this girl filmed it like 12 hours earlier. So I was like, well, that seems like a topical one to do. So this is actually called the Contradictions Book Tag. Just pull up the questions here. So we've got 8 questions, and we're just gonna get on into it because there's no time to waste. Question number 1, prompt number 1. I love this genre, but I didn't like this book. That was an easy one for me. I love the sort of dysfunctional family trope, sort of suburban dysfunction, although this isn't quite suburban, so we'll just kind of go dysfunctional family. And that is My Absolute Darling by Gabriel Talent. This book is one of the most upsetting and unsettling things I've ever read. And you know, I like reading horror, so you get a lot of disturbing things in there, but this takes the cake. That said, I didn't dislike the entire book. I liked the general arc of the story, but there are some scenes in here that I don't think anybody should have to read, no matter what. They're so disturbing, and it involves childhood sexual assault, which is very, very, like, that's the worst. So that, I love this genre, this sort of dysfunctional family, suburban dysfunction genre, but this was too much for me. Too much. And if you've read it, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And if you haven't, don't read it. Prompt number 2. I rarely read this genre, but I loved this book. Now for this one, I don't have a copy of the book because I borrowed it from my friend Krista. But this is The Library at Mount Shar by Scott Hawkins. And I would kind of classify it as a fantasy novel. I don't read a ton of fantasy. It's not my preferred genre, but I loved this book. And I'm pretty sure all the books I'm going to talk about today I have full dedicated book talks for. So I definitely do for the library, but this book was a wild ride. And even in that dedicated video, I struggled to know how to describe it because it's insane, but it's so good. So good. So fun. Prompt number 3. I love this trope, but I didn't like this book. This next book is actually going to be the answer to 2 of these prompts. So a trope I love, but I didn't like this book. The trope is sort of forced proximity or stranded in the winter, however you want to look at it. And that is The Sanatorium by Sarah Pierce. I had high hopes. I had high hopes for this one because I do love that trope. But this book was just really a flop for me. It's not terrible. You know, in general, I'm sure there are people that love it. I'm not one of them. And Reese's Book Club have all of the Reese's Book Club books that I've read, I hated. Not hated. That's a strong word, but you know what I mean. They were not for me. So The Sanatorium is that one. Okay, let's see what's next. I hate this trope, but I loved this book. Okay, so for this trope, I'm kind of going with the sort of slasher that takes place at a summer camp. I don't love that. Mainly because it usually involves children. I don't like watching it in movies unless it's like, what's that series of movies? Why can't I think of it? I think Friday the 13th. think Friday the 13th. I'm gonna have to look that up. So don't quote me on it if I'm wrong. But anyway, I do like those. But I don't love the slasher at summer camp trope. But I read The Final Girl Support Group by Grady Hendrix. And now the entire book isn't like that, but there's a portion towards the end that sort of shifts into that territory, and I thought it was a lot of fun. Mainly because it's adults and not teenagers, as it tends to be in those books and movies most generally. I loved this. I love this cover. I love the title. I love Grady Hendrix. I think he just writes wacky, fun horror stories. Let's see what's next. I love this author, but I didn't like this book. Okay. Now, this author, I almost didn't give her another go after this book. And I did. And then I liked that one. So I kept going with her books. But I disliked this one so much. I thought it was so boring, so predictable. Even though it does also have that sort of stranded in the weather, in the winter weather sort of trope going on. I hated this. Again, hate's a strong word, but here we are. In a Dark, Dark Wood by Ruth Ware. I didn't like this. And I had high hopes for it, and I've gone on and I've read like 3 or 4 Ruth Ware books since then, and I really liked them. This one, no. Nope. Not a chance. I think it's being made into a movie now. So maybe the movie will be better. Didn't like it, but I love Ruth. Let's see what the next prompt is here. Previously disliked a book by this author, but I loved this book. Okay, so this author is, from what I can tell, much beloved. People love her books and they love her. And I read one, didn't like it, didn't read her again until I heard about this really, really hyped book that she had out. It's Colleen Hoover. I read Without Merit a few years ago, which I think is a YA book, and I don't tend to gravitate towards YA books. I didn't realize it was a YA book before I read it. If I had known that, I could have went in with that mindset, but I didn't. And so I didn't like that book. Nothing wrong with it, just not for me. So I didn't pick her up again. Until I heard people talking about Verity. And they made it sound like it was a must-read. So I read it, and I did enjoy it. I think this is more of an adult book. It wasn't perfect by any means, but I enjoyed it a lot. I think she's an author that has a really high output volume, like so many books. So I appreciate that. That's great. So would I read her again? Probably, but not the YA ones. Adult ones, I'd give her another go. All right, let's see what's next. I love this cover, but I didn't like this book. That's where we head back to the Sanatorium. I think that's a great cover. You know, it's foreboding. You get the vibes for the book. I liked it. Book was a flop. And then the opposite question is a book that you liked, but you didn't love the cover. And that was an easy one. This book, again, not my favorite book, but I enjoyed it. But this cover, so the book is Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. What a lackluster cover, in my opinion. It's boring. It's not that visually appealing. And I just didn't love it. But I liked the book. So there you go, you guys. The final prompt says to tag others to do it. And I don't know who to tag. So I'll just leave it up to you. If you see this, you want to answer these questions, tell us about your contradictions. I would love to hear it, but I know everyone's busy. Some of the bookish people I know, they don't really do tags. So it's up to you. You want to do it? I would love to hear your answers. If you're not into it, that's fine. That's fine. Anyway, you guys, I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you again real soon. Bye.